Dimension 20 makes history with their massive Madison Square Garden show on Saturday, and maybe gives us a glimpse of the future of actual plays in general and Critical Role. Has Dimension 20 become the new gold standard of actual play live shows after shattering records this weekend? Before we discuss the possibilities, why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep this channel growing, and then let's talk Dimension 20.
We're also excited about what we're doing.
On Saturday, Dimension 20 made actual play history by putting their game on display in front of 20,000 fans in a sold-out Madison Square Garden, making it the largest live show actual play event in history. For a frame of reference, Critical Role played in front of about 12,000 fans at Wembley last year for their Mighty Nine Echoes of the Solstice show, and around 5,000 or so fans for their show at the Greek Theater. And while Critical Role is certainly going to do some huge numbers during their world tour this year to celebrate their 10th anniversary with stops across America and Australia, the Madison Square Garden show is a massive milestone in actual play history, and shows just how far Dimension 20 and its fans have come since their early days as the little actual play side project on the possibly doomed streaming channel that could. So what's behind this rise to prominence, and what went down at the Madison Square Garden show to make it so special, and what could it mean for the future of Critical Role? Let's find out. First off, what happened at the show itself? Well, it felt more like a WrestleMania event than an actual play, complete with pyrotechnics, a massive entrance through the sold-out Madison Square Garden crowd, and even Brian Murphy taking a stunner from Lou Wilson at one point in the night. The cast was playing their Unsleeping City characters again, although there were some elements of the Time Quangle live shows from last year, as the audience got to roll some dice to randomly select some other fan-favorite characters to crash the party. The cast, and especially Brennan, seemed stunned at the sheer number of fans that came out to see the show as they walked to their massive stage, with emotions running high for everyone. And according to every review posted of the event so far, it's basically the new high bar for live actual play shows. So what led us to this place where an actual play that isn't Critical Role is smashing attendance records and selling out massive sports arenas? The answer is that Dimension 20 has found the perfect cast and the perfect format to stand apart in an actual play field that was crowded with long format, slow burn shows, all trying to emulate the massive success that is Critical Role. So first off, Critical Role is phenomenal. Do not for one second think this is any kind of a slight on the show, as while we may have some small critiques for Campaign 3, it's still one of the best ways to spend 4 or 5 hours on a Thursday night. But that highlights the first thing that Dimension 20 did right, making their shows much shorter in terms of both campaign length and episode play length. Critical Role is a massive time investment, and Brennan Lee Mulligan and Dropout CEO Sam Reich quickly realized that less was more when it came to entering a market where Critical Role was so established and so dominant. With the hour-and-a-half run times and the seasons that last 2 or 3 months instead of 2 or 3 years, it became much easier for new and returning fans to get into a season and watch it all the way through, as it was just far less of a time commitment. And because the cast and the DM are all trained improvisers and comedians, the shorter runtimes are still peppered with a ton of jokes, emotional gut punches, and character development. And since the show has always been pre-recorded and edited, they can basically cut out all the wasted time and make it all thriller, no filler. There are no meandering side quests or shopping episodes of Dimension 20, as everything has to live to serve the characters or the story in these short runtimes. And much like Critical Role, this cast has a massive amount of chemistry and an amazing DM to guide them to bring that all into shape. Basically, they created a show you could fit into a schedule that was already packed with hours of weekly Critical Role, and that was easy to pick up for new fans since entire seasons were often only 10 episodes long and 15 hours of content. So what does all this mean for actual plays in general, and possibly even Critical Role itself? Well, it could be time for Critical Role to consider trimming back episode runtimes, especially with the start of Campaign 4, and now that the show has gone fully pre-recorded anyway. It can be hard for new critters to onboard when they're staring down the barrel of 150 5-hour plus episodes per campaign to kind of get caught up on the lore. Shorter runtimes could also be a big help if Critical Role actually does another movie theater launch for the first episode of Campaign 4, like they did for Campaign 3, as a 3-hour runtime could be played 3 times in a day pretty comfortably, whereas their 4.5 to 5-hour runtimes maxed out at 2 showings per day tops. So it's just a chance for more critters to experience that magic of seeing the beginning of a new campaign surrounded by other fans. And for live shows, it's a much easier sell if you know you're going for a 2 to 3 hour show than it is to block out 5 hours plus an intermission with a lot of fans who are all going to flood the bathrooms and concessions during the break. So it would help them a ton as they begin to do their world tour this year as well. A 3-hour Critical Role show would almost certainly sell out Madison Square Garden or other big venues, and maybe Dimension 20 has opened the door to Critical Role finally deciding to trim some of that runtime after seeing their huge success. With 3 full campaigns comprising thousands of hours of content for new critters to get through, and and already switching to pre-recorded episodes, which means there's no reason that they can't edit and trim things down in post, and a new campaign with potentially a new system in Daggerheart on the way for Critical Role, it may very well be time for some changes. And Dimension 20's Gauntlet in the Garden may have just given us a glimpse of what that could look like. And honestly, while we don't think Critical Role would work in those same 1.5 hour formats that normal Dimension 20 episodes run, a 3-hour Critical Role, well, that could be the sweet spot for new and veteran critters alike to get on board when Campaign 4 launches sometime in the very near future, and Dimension 20 may be the proof of that. So what do you think? Is the continued rise and record-breaking success of Dimension 20 a sign that some changes could be on the way for Critical Role? Let us know your thoughts on a shorter Critical Role in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.